Hello again, everyone. Author Don Nicely here with his award-winning book, A Year Without Fear. Remember, I'm giving this book away this year as a 20-year celebration. Go to donnicelybooks.com, click on the link and get your book free. A Year Without Fear. It's one of dozens of books that I've written, and you can read about all of them on my website if you want to. Are you a risk taker? You know, one of the number one things people say on their deathbed is they wish they would have taken more risks. Today we're going to talk about the fear of risk-taking. My scripture reading is in Matthew 25, verse 23. It says, His Lord said unto him, Well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter now into the joy of the Lord. Let that scripture give you some daily serenity from this craziness going on in our world today. In a survey of people dying of terminally ill diseases, the number 2 on the list of things they would do differently in their life is they would take more risks in life. The pursuit of false security has caused many people to give up their hopes and dreams for a better life. They have settled for the grasshopper complex that many in the children of Israel caught after spying out the promised land for 40 days. They confidently spoke, Yes, the land does flow with milk and honey, as the Lord promised, but we look like grasshoppers in their eyes. Now I have to ask, how they would know unless they asked them. Can you see the absurdity in this scenario? Walking up to a giant and saying, Oh, by the way, I was wondering, how do we look to you? Now Joshua and Caleb were the only 2 of those people who were willing to take a risk. They have been delivered from the land of failure, or Egypt, and they wanted the land of promise, or Canaan. Tens of thousands numbered the 2s that day, and Joshua and Caleb had to wait for another 40 years on their promised land partial. But listen to the words of Rahab the harlot. "40 years later, as she talks about the incident 40 years prior, and she said to them, I know that the Lord has given you the land, and that your terror has fallen on us, and all the inhabitants of the land faint because of you. For we have heard how the Lord dried up the water of the Red Sea. And as soon as we heard those things, our hearts did melt. Neither did there remain any courage in any man." Joshua chapter 2, 9 through 11. They were afraid 40 years ago, just as God had promised. If they had only taken the risk and crossed into the promised land. Don't miss God's best by settling for what is good. Please, my friend, let that be a lesson to you today, that life is a constant position of risk. And we have to learn to take risks if we want to accomplish what God has for us. They wandered around a mountain for 40 years, aimlessly waiting on all of those defeated people to die because they weren't willing to take a risk. Once the last one died, 40 years later, the children went in and took the city, just as God had said. Don't forget, get a free copy of this book. Get it today before I run out of them. I've got a limited supply, but I'm giving them away. So get a free copy right now. God bless. Till next time.